Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of Video Games Ahoy. My name is Jonathan Radford, and today I'm joined by Daf Gape.
Hello.
And Zach Hamilton.
Ahoy.
How are you doing, fellas?
A little jealous of Zach's intro.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think it's because every time Zach's always last, because of the way I like to do it. It's like Daf Gape and Zach Hamilton. It's like he's just...
I kind of felt good about it. I've got kind of a self-esteem boost for the rest of the day now.
I think it's like, I don't know why, it just feels like, we're being introduced on a show. Don't know, like
yeah,
those,
it's got the
TV
kind
shows.
of the boxing ring thing.
Yeah. That's I don't know
like
why. I think it's just the Hamilton. It's just very fun to say.
Mm.
But yeah, no Dav weeks this week. He's off doing some very cool stuff, some filming stuff. So yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, I'm doing alright, guys. I don't know if you know, but
We didn't ask.
It's fine. I was being sarcastic. But if to you listeners, I'm getting married this weekend, which is bonkers. But yeah, it seems crazy.
I'm so happy about that.
It's been so long on the cards, but finally it's coming. I mean, hopefully it's coming. We don't know.
You were engaged when I met you. You were like, "This is my fiance."
Yeah, this is my fiance.
Wow.
So long ago. But yeah,
I met you both when you were both single.
Yes,
that's way
ready
cuter.
to mingle. We were
So mingle prepared.
I like the idea of a younger Jonny ready to mingle.
Oh, he was such a dick. I mean, he's no different to me. But...
Rosie, on the other hand,
it was funny because I was saying to her the other day, I did this like quiz with her sisters, and they were just like, what did you think of the parents? I was like, oh, they were lovely, but like expectations, I just soared right underneath them, so like I was worried and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's I'm excited.
Yeah,
Hopefully
congratulations,
Saturday comes
man. This is awesome.
Should we get into the start of the podcast? Let's
Yes.
have a little chat about the podcast, and then we've got some news. Nothing as heavy hitting as last week, but some news nonetheless. But before we begin, this podcast is supported by a whole host of delicious people. I think that can be said. Our patrons over on Patreon, patrons over on Patreon. Every week
like
this is going to be a
Patreon.
thing.
Go with Patreon.
This
People know what you mean.
Every week. I mean,
Yeah,
today
it's wrong, but it's fine.
it's strong and wrong. We're always taught in college, strong and wrong. So that to everyone that contributes, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. You've helped us so much. We can't thank you enough. And if you would like to contribute, then please head on over to our page. Again, we have Video Games Ahoy, and you can pay £1, £5, £10. We got a lot of cool stuff on there. We're just about to do the next episode of the Video Games Ahoy Hall of Fame. So we've been chatting about that for a little bit. We don't know what anyone's going to bring, but some ideas. I think some ideas are bubbling. And if you don't want to or you can't, then that's fine. We're just grateful for you listening to the show. I was saying earlier that our episodes used to be around about the hour mark, but they've been hitting closer and closer to like 1 hour and 30 minutes. And to the people who are listening all the way through, thank you so much. That's 90 minutes of nonsense.
Yeah, you're both great for listening.
One of them's me. But yeah, thank you so much if you have been listening about it. We really appreciate it. As well as Patreon, you can find us on the usual websites like Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to see our faces, then check us out on YouTube because we're on there too. And we also do a little bit of twitching as well. I haven't had a chance to twitch this week, but Dav's been doing some cool stuff. Dav, what did you do the other day?
I did the Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath expansion.
That's what you did. How was that?
But we'll talk about it later.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. Let's
I
hold
also
on to that
streamed
one.
Hyrule Warriors.
I saw that one.
We'll talk about that later.
I'm very excited to see what you think of that one. So yeah, check us out on Twitch as well. We're trying and really grow the channel. So if you're a follower of the podcast but you don't follow us on Twitch, then head on over. See us, maybe throw us an Amazon Prime membership subscription.
It's free to do.
It's free.
We get money.
Exactly. It's free to do if you have it. And if you don't,
then get it, and then we get free money.
And then we get free money.
Let us know that you've done it, and we can message you every month to make sure you do it again.
Just
because it doesn't automatically redo
this
it.
month. Now, do it.
Do it.
We're also proud to say that we're affiliated with Green Man Gaming. I'm not just going to send you a link this week. It's going to be in the bio instead of just telling you to go to the website. So if you do have any gaming needs and want to look for some delicious deals, then make sure you head on over to Green Man Gaming. Like I said, the link will be in the description. Now, let's get into the news. Like I said, there's nothing majorly heavy hitting, should we say, as last week, but just some fun topics to talk about. I think the first thing we should talk about really is the Xbox Series X reviews or I guess the early reviews have dropped. We're going to specifically talk about Tom Warren's piece with The Verge, because I read that one. I thought, okay, it gives a lot of good information. But we'll sort of talk about that. Yeah, so everything you hear from the next section, you can go on over to theverge.com and read Tom Warren's piece over there. So again, this is from his perspective, and it's really interesting because it seems across the board everyone is like unanimously positive about the console.
Everyone bloody loves it.
It seems, I will get onto the numbers that we can talk about in a little bit, which I think for me, like I obviously I love video games, but like when it comes to the actual tech, a lot of the times it is lost to me. It's not my strong point when it comes to games. My strong point is being bad at them. But
in fairness, you excel at
that. Thank you.
Except for Mario Kart, maybe.
Mario Kart, I don't know what it is. I just go into a blur. Just if you can't see that, that's just me going into a blur. So he goes on to say that games obviously load faster, but in many cases they also feel smoother. Destiny 2 is a great example of a game that was held back by the weaker CPU and slow HDD of the Xbox One X. Basically, the game was stuck at 30 frames per second, and what he was saying is that while Bungie has committed to enhancing Destiny 2 for the Xbox Series X and PS5 with the 60 frames per second support, it already feels faster without the patch. So even without these patches that they're putting out for games, it already feels faster. I guess that would be the case in the same way, you play a game on a faster PC even without changing things. It's going to run better anyway because, it's not going to be struggling. The console's not going to be struggling. He said, I haven't seen a single stutter running Destiny 2 on the Xbox Series X. This console has also improved other parts of Destiny 2 that were slow on the Xbox One. Loading into the character menu sometimes takes a few seconds on the Xbox One X, but on the Series X it feels like I'm playing on my PC as it's near instant. These are minor improvements, but they're small things that add up and make the game more enjoyable to play. I'm going to give you some load times now, because I think this is the big one, really. I think
some of these are crazy.
Some of these are absolutely ridiculous. Some of them are only like 5 seconds, but some of them are like, okay, let me just get into it. So, for instance, COD Warzone on the Series X, it's 16 seconds. On the One X, it was 21. I'll start reading from the One X. Bear in mind,
the One X is literally the most powerful console that we have right now.
Yeah. So
and Series X and PS5 are going to be roughly the same on these numbers.
Yep.
So if you're thinking about PS5, it's about the same as this, and it is crazy.
So The Outer Worlds, 27 seconds on the One X, 6 seconds on the Series X. Like, that is in Sea of Thieves, 1 minute 21 seconds on the One X, 20 seconds on the Series X.
That's crazy.
Red Dead Redemption 2, 1 minute 35, 52 on the Series X. Again, some of these are bigger than the others, but again, 52 seconds to load into Red Dead Redemption 2 when it previously took upwards of 1 minute 30. Like, these are some seriously great times to like really jump into a game. For the most part, they seem to be halved, I'd say. Like, again, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, currently it's 1 minute 7 seconds. It will be 30 seconds on the next-gen consoles. And then Destiny itself was 1 minute 52 seconds on the One X and 43 seconds on the Series X, which is,
that game has a lot of loading screens.
Yeah,
so like to save over a minute every time.
It adds up though, doesn't it? It really does add up. Like, when you think so often. Yeah.
If you're having like, I don't know, like a 2-hour sesh of Destiny 2,
you're
probably going to hit like 15 loading screens. So you're getting 15 minutes more of playing.
Yeah. He also briefly talks about Quick Resume, which utilizes the SSD inside the Series X to let you swap between multiple games freely. It takes about 5 seconds to resume games where you left off, and he was able to switch between 5 games relatively easily. That seems like a really cool thing to introduce. I haven't seen much of that, but the fact that it seems like something they're trying to implement again is great. Just off those, we can already see, like I think we've said previously, I don't think we're going to see the massive leaps in graphics at this part. Personally, from what I've read and from what I've seen, it's stuff like this. We're going to see load times like just cut in half. We are going to notice it. That is definitely something we're going to notice. When you jump in, like I said earlier, which was the crazy one, The Outer Worlds, 6 seconds instead of 27.
And there's quite a few load screens in that as well. Like any new location.
6 seconds is mad. Like 6 seconds is crazy. It's just barely enough time to have a drink. You know what I mean? It's really barely any time at all.
The only two experiences that I've seen this is when I was playing XCOM on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And then playing it on my laptop and just there being like no load times.
Yeah.
And on the 360 it would take forever to load. And just like, it's such a difference.
Yeah.
Like, if you're listening to these seconds and like all these numbers and going, well, realistically, it's intangible. It feels so different though. And like they were saying how Destiny 2 feels quicker. When you're zipping between menus instead of going, okay, in a menu, you're going to have a much more enjoyable experience, I reckon.
And that is the thing. Like we know sometimes, we have to deal with loading screens. That's absolutely fine. There's no problems with that. I mean, eventually, I imagine they'll get to the point where it's it's snap or nothing at all. But when you're waiting, like I said, what was Red Dead Redemption 2? Like 1 minute 35 seconds. Like, that's a long time of sitting around waiting just to load the game. And I know that obviously once you've loaded the game, you've loaded the game. But still, it's a long time to be sitting around, doing nothing. So he goes on to talk more, just about the console in general and what he expects from it in the future. And what he says is, like any generation of game consoles, it will take months or even years to understand what the hardware advancements will do for game design. And I think that's something, Dab, you've been saying a lot recently, is that we're not going to really see, I don't think, for the first, maybe 2-3 years.
Maybe 5 years.
Yeah, it's always the last 3 or 4 years when you start seeing, the powerhouse games. Like, when you look at the PlayStation 4 as an example, I'd say their big hitters graphically, especially from Sony themselves, have been in the last 2-3 years.
Well, it wasn't Killzone Shadowfall, was it?
Well, exactly. That's it's like it takes sometimes I know they're an in-house developers for them, but sometimes it takes developers time to really get to grips with the console. So he goes on to say, we're waiting to see how ray tracing gets implemented into next-gen games and how many are able to deliver up to 120 frames per second at a 4K resolution. The true next generation of games is still a mystery, but what I've seen from backward compatible games over the past week is encouraging. I'm hoping that game developers will have a lot fewer bottlenecks with both the Xbox Series X and PS5, enabling them to deliver some game improvements we're only used to seeing over on the PC side. And I think that is the thing, really, isn't it? Like, it does feel like someone made a really good point. It does feel like we've had the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One X, or the Xbox, that generation anyway. It does seem, even though it's only been since 2013, it just feels like they've been around way longer. And this generation feels like it's gone on forever. And it still feels like we're not really ready for next gen. It's simultaneously ready for next gen, but also not ready for next gen. I don't know. Maybe it's just because for me personally, it feels like they could wait until next year. But
sure.
I don't know.
Zach, I was wondering, as a PS4 owner, do you feel that you've seen a big difference between the beginning of PS4 and now?
I mean, so I didn't get my PS4 until a year ago or something.
Yeah,
Because I kind of, anyway. The main thing for me is it's always going to be about titles. So the main reason that I felt really comfortable buying my PS4 was because I was like, there's all these games I know I want to play.
Yeah.
Added to the fact that they'll be very cheap, but I knew that there was like a big backlog of stuff that I was already excited about. But other than that, I would say the games, in terms of the way they look and stuff, is there a big difference? I mean, like a good example, say for instance, on PS4 you had right at the beginning you had, what was it, Shadows of Mordor? That was one of the launch titles, was it? Or certainly early titles.
Near enough, yeah. Shadow of Mordor was near enough, yeah. And Wolfenstein.
Put that next to The Last of Us 2. Do they?
Yeah, I guess the differences are much smaller, aren't they? It's not about like how many pixels are on the face, but it's how the hair moves.
Yeah,
it's how the
that's
clothes
true. A lot of
ruffle.
the animations are very neat. It's nothing like the difference between the beginning and the end of the last generation, I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's short-sighted, but that seems the way anyway.
You know what?
You are right.
Modern Warfare is probably the best-looking game I've ever played in my life. The campaign.
Yeah, I remember you saying that actually.
The only other game where I've gone, bloody hell, this is gorgeous, was when I was playing Hellblade. But even then, that was on my PC, not on my Xbox. Whereas,
this is what's interesting. We heard one of the quotations there was someone was playing the new Xbox, and saying that it's like playing it on my PC.
Yeah. Let me.
Now I know there are lots of people, possibly even people who are listening to this, who will be sitting there going, "Yeah, of course, everyone should get a PC because there are a lot of benefits." But given that the console prices keep going up and presumably PC prices stay fairly consistent, I don't know about this. I've never really done the research into buying a PC, but I feel like I'm bringing myself closer and closer to making the transition from console to PC. What do you guys think about that? Like, what would your take on the idea of the shift be, especially now?
Dav, how about you go first? Because I kind of made my own PC, so like it could have been, I could have made it better. So I never really. It was a gaming PC, but not for long. It was a gaming PC for maybe like 2 or 3 years, and after that, I couldn't really play any consoles. But yeah, Dav, how do you feel?
I totally get that. I totally get that reasoning. There's a high buy-in if you want a PC that plays like a console. Like,
I can
that
totally
PC
appreciate that.
costs
But what do you
more
think
than a
about
console.
what do you think about the overall long-term costs? Do you think you'll end up spending less as a whole on a PC? So in which case, if that is the case, then presumably it's a case of, have you got the money to invest in order to then save money in the long run?
I think that's probably the thing for a lot of people. I think for me, I've tried. Like, I have a gaming laptop that, you know, it will play Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, for instance, at 1080p max settings.
Yeah.
So, and that cost me about $1,000.
Okay.
Now, that's not. I can't iterate on the laptop. That it is how it is. But I think that's going to last me a long time.
Do you think it'll last you a full generation's worth, like a 7-8 year stint?
I do. I don't think it will be able to run whatever Call of Duty, for instance, there is in 7 years.
Yeah. That's kind of where I am, really.
Whereas the Xbox, I know that if whatever Call of Duty it is, I know if I put that in my Xbox, it'll work.
Yeah, of course. That's what it's
and
built for.
They've done it all on the back end, you know? I don't need to fiddle around with any settings. It's just convenience, which I think convenience plus the sort of TV chair playing experience, which I know can be done on PC, but it's just it's
interesting. Well, it's something that I've been considering for a few years, but it just right now just seems like, you know, another opportunity to consider it. I'm going to do a little bit more research. Maybe I'll come back to us on the podcast after I've spoken to some other folk who have done the transition and people who've considered the transition as well. So, because I guess everyone who's owned a console at some, or at least everyone who's interested in games at some point has thought, would it be a good idea? You know, even if they've decided it's not a good idea. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, I made my own. I didn't make it obviously from the bare bones. I just put things together.
But you built the pieces.
I put it together, and like
that would save you a fair bit of money, presumably.
It did. So I had my brother help me, but bear in mind this was like 2013. So it's 7 years ago, and like when I bought the parts, the graphics card was like really up to date, but everything else wasn't massively up to date, and that's where my computer is failing at the moment, where it's just kind of dying. I mean, if I was gonna get another PC, I wouldn't bother upgrading this one. I would just rather buy. Or I don't mind putting a PC together again. I really enjoyed that experience, and it's really fun knowing that you did that. But like, I'd rather just start from scratch and put it all together again. But I think Dav kind of made a really good point, and like, it is just convenience. Like, when I think about a gaming PC,
that's right, yeah.
Like, when you see graphic cards coming out all the time, like, it'll do this, and they come out so often, it's like you almost feel compelled because you want to play the games at the highest settings. And like, I think I can get up to about, like I said, my computer's from about 2013. I couldn't play The Witcher 3 on high settings. I could probably play it on low settings, but I could play like The Witcher 2 on high settings. You know, any game from like maybe towards the end of last gen I can play on high settings, but any game from this gen, it's kind of pushing it. So
it's going to struggle.
Like my last point is, I can't afford. No, sorry, there isn't a PC out there that has everything a Xbox Series X has for £450.
Yes,
that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, that's really what it comes down to. Ultimately, it's the two factors are, what does it do, the console or the PC? How much does it cost? Now, if they can do the same things, which I guess they can technically, then really what it just comes down to is just the money. You know, what does it cost? And not only that, but what are the upfront costs against the overall costs? God, when did we turn into a financial channel? Sorry, everyone.
About 10 minutes ago.
Realised how dull that all sounded.
No, well, to be honest, I think it's a really interesting conversation because, like, for a lot, like my brother again is really into computing, like as much as me, and he has a Mac, and he has thought about getting a gaming PC, but then he was just like, oh, I can't be bothered. You know, it's like, and like
that's interesting.
For me, like, we know that PC gaming is, I mean, it's one of those things where like games get like reduced so quickly, and there's like mods and that, and it probably is a better way of playing games, but it's just when you weigh it off against the convenience. And like I said, this convenience is why I love my Nintendo Switch. So
yeah,
you know,
I've discussed with a friend building a PC, and he knows far more about this than I do, and he's agreed to help me with it if I so choose. But yeah, I just feel the same way. I'm nervous about, making mistakes and having to spend lots of time and money, and it does feel a little bit daunting.
If I had a good setup, I really enjoyed that. If I had a good setup, I probably would. But like I said, for me, first things first, I want to get next gen consoles, and I'm probably over the next 5 years, I probably will get a new PC. But I completely understand where you're coming from. So let's move on. I kind of want to talk about the PS5 pre-orders, because we said last week that PS5 kind of screwed it when it came to the pre-orders, and they have still screwed it when it came to the pre-orders. So Ireland's GameStop chain has contacted some PS5 pre-order customers to tell them not to expect their consoles to arrive before 2021. Apparently, the delay is due to circumstances out of our control. I don't buy that quote. Like, I due to circumstances out of our control. Like, don't sell pre-orders if you can't fulfill them, or you don't know if you can fulfill them. Like, it's not fair on people who are expecting it for Christmas. It's not fair on anyone who thinks they're expecting it at all. And basically, you can either stay in the pre-order queue or you can cancel entirely. On Monday, VGC reported that UK's Shop2 claimed it had received PS5 allocation details from Sony, which meant it would not be able to fulfill all of its pre-orders. Amazon has also warned some PS5 pre-order customers that they might not receive their console on the day of release, although it doesn't necessarily state it's going to be 2021. It just might not be on the day. And further PS5 pre-order stock may yet appear between now and the console's November launch date, but otherwise, much of PlayStation's launch inventory appears to be claimed. I just wanted to say something quick about that. I don't know, when it comes to like pre-ordering, like, don't send your numbers out after you've opened pre-orders. Like, have your numbers. They do have numbers. Why are they not just telling people this is your allocation? I mean, it could be there's something to do with marketing, and I've completely missed it. And if I have, I'll stick my hands up. But it just seems completely unfair now. Like, people who thought they had pre-orders for the next gen console now have been told, no, you're not getting it until 2021. And it's like, well, and especially if they've paid for it as well, It's like, I don't know, that doesn't sit well with me. How about you guys?
Go on, Zach.
It's tricky, right? Because, like, I get why they did it. Like, there was no way in hell they were ever going to be like, nope, we're not doing pre-orders. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way they were ever going to delay that, and I can understand that. But only kind of, you know what I mean? I only understand that within the realms of how the system was obviously made to work. Yeah. I don't know. It's really hard for me to get to click in with. I'm never going to be someone really who pre-order a console, at launch. Have either of you guys put any pre-orders in at all?
I have.
Yeah, I think Dav actually got a pre-order for the Series X.
Series X. Yeah, the beefy boy.
Did you?
Well, how would you feel? How would you feel then?
Very quickly.
I went with Curry's in the end.
Did you get the £30
not Spawn
a month?
Curry's didn't do it. Funnily enough, I tried to do it on Smith's, and their whole system was broken. No one was able to get an all-access monthly payment thing.
Well, so how would you feel then if the same thing was happening with Xbox? Would you feel cheated?
I'm concerned by the fact that this happened with Sony. Like, I'm not blind enough to think, oh, well, if it wouldn't happen to Microsoft. It only happened to Sony. Silly Sony. It's like,
But how would you feel about it if they came out and said,
livid.
You'd be pissed off, yeah.
Yeah, like, it would make, if I knew that I wasn't getting it day and date, or at least I'd want a day and date. If I wasn't getting it at least sort of within a month of the release date, I'd cancel that pre-order. Otherwise, why am I pre-ordering it?
Yeah, it seems a little strange. I mean, how else do you get... Presumably, lots of people are not pre-ordering and they're just going to go on the day.
Well, they're going to release some in the shelves.
Yeah.
Surely,
they kind of have to.
They need that. They need that sort of marketing, that PR, the moment of everyone rushing to the shops in the morning, queuing overnight. They need that moment.
I actually saw the other day, the Series S, they still have some at Game. Or at least I could have bought one from Game.
It's probably gone now.
Them. I mean, that was 2 days ago, but it's probably gone now.
With that in mind, then, because they're saying that you can cancel your pre-orders, can't you?
Yes, you can either stay in the queue.
So would you consider cancelling your pre-order in order to go and try and get one day one?
If they came out and said there will be someone day one, and I was in this PS5 debacle, I would do that. Yeah, I'd cancel it and just camp out overnight like a little nerd.
do you think? And again, I could be wrong. Do you think that there's going to be anyone that's had their PS5 pre-order cancelled and gone, screw it, I'm going to buy an Xbox instead? Because an Xbox Series X. Do you think that because would that annoy you enough to go, screw it? Well, I was going to get them both anyway. I might as well get the Xbox first.
You know what? I don't think we are representative of the people who would make that decision.
Yeah.
I think there is definitely a proportion of the gaming market who are just looking to get a console, and if they can't get the PS5 on day one, but we got to make sure little Jonny has one. The Xbox Series X is
Rosie.
available.
That's Rosie saying that.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you have the other thing is, as you say, if you're in a position where you're planning to have both anyway, certainly you might have one.
Yeah.
The other one first, because it's just a case of, I'm going to get both of them, but I'm going to have this one first because I can get that one first. But I suppose that doesn't really affect their sales in the long run because the prices aren't going to go down quick enough for it to make enough of a difference.
It comes down to how much you want Demon Souls. If you can wait on Demon Souls, why are you getting a PS5 right now?
That is the thing.
Unless you're an absolute idiot like me getting an Xbox.
Well, but again, I think there might be slightly more value with the Xbox because of Game Pass. You still have something new to play, and they will make things better with the PS, or at least graphically trying to enhance games with the PS5. There's some games that won't transfer the save data, so you won't be able to play games from the PS4 and the PS5 without starting a new game. It's just
that's the thing. If Sony were doing a Game Pass and Xbox weren't, I'd be waiting for my PS5.
Yeah.
In 2021, but I'd have pre-ordered one of those, but I don't. And because I can get an Xbox on day one and not have to buy a game.
Especially now Miles Morales is on the PS4 and Horizon's on the PS4.
Horizon's on the PS4 as well.
For me, I'm I can wait. I can wait. I'm not really into. I'm not into Demon Souls, so I'm not gonna. That's not enticing me enough to get a PS5. But not that I could get one anyway.
Do we think this is a PS5? Do you think this is maybe the end for it? I mean, this is maybe the downturn that loses them the generation.
Well,
the pre-orders or Game Pass.
I would.
It seems like those are the two main factors right now.
I would hold on to this because we might. There's something else in a little bit that I want to talk about with regards to that. We'll come on to that in a little bit because I think that's a really good point actually. So let's move on. So EA Play is coming to Microsoft, as we've said before, but it's actually coming a lot earlier than we thought. It's what is it? So I've got a quote here from the Xbox account which says, "Today I'm announcing that starting November 10th, EA Play will be available on Xbox consoles." I think as well, where is it? You can play some EA games on the Android devices via the cloud, which is great. And I think, where did I read it? That Bethesda is coming to Game Pass from October 1st. Some Bethesda games, I'm fairly sure Doom Eternal is going to be on there from October 1st for...
Finally, I can play Skyrim on another console.
Hey, wait for Skyrim edition of Skyrim. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. But so I mean, like I said, going back to the conversation we were having earlier. I don't know if I was going to buy the two, I want a PS5 because I want to play their exclusives more. But if I was going to if I had to buy one right now, it probably would be the Series X. But this will be the first generation I think since the GameCube era that I get all three. I think whatever
I'm
Nintendo.
The same actually. That'll be the first. Well. Yeah, I'm not sure about the PS5 at the moment.
Final Fantasy, though.
until they reveal that, I know, but until they reveal that most games are going to be $70, or £70, sorry, £70, unless Sony get a better PS Now. Then PS Now you can download the games.
Yeah, you can.
If they start putting their games more, quicker on PS Now, then I would definitely be same as you'd be the first generation since the GameCube era.
Yeah.
Where I'd got all three.
I think it's interesting as well because I've realised over the last couple of episodes that it does seem like we almost feels like we're being really harsh on Sony, but like I would be exactly the same to Xbox and Microsoft if they were doing the same things. I just think that recently, like, Microsoft and Xbox are being really clear with a lot of things, which is getting them, like you said last week, it got them some hate for some things when they were saying that some games are going to be on both consoles for the first 2 years. But it just seems like Sony and PlayStation in general just they keep doing things like this, and it's so frustrating because I want to buy a PS5, and I want to support them, but they keep annoying me so much that I keep talking about it. Just stop doing it. But yeah, let's move on. So talking about EA, they were criticized for promoting FIFA microtransactions at Smith's Toys. An in-shop magazine features an advertisement for FIFA 21, which includes a 4-step guide for creating your ultimate team. Step 2 being use FIFA points to open packs. Bear in mind, Smith's Toys is... I mean, if anyone's going to go to Smith's Toys, it's going to be kids. It's Smith Toys. I mean,
kids and parents.
Kids and parents. So, like, it's targeting kids, and that's... I don't know, that's not cool.
Shit.
And so there was another thing as well, actually, in line with this. Loot boxes in video games has actually been a thing with regards to the government. On 8th of June 2020, the government's response to the DCMS Select Committee Immersive and Addictive Technologies Inquiry announced that the government will launch a call for evidence to gather evidence and understand the impact of loot boxes. Obviously, that was a few months ago. This followed a commitment made by the government to review Gambling Act 2005 with a particular focus tackling issues around loot boxes. They've just put out, I think, something where you can actually send information to. You can still do it now. So if you go on gov.co.uk, you can find that, and you can just give your thoughts basically on loot boxes, because it could be that they make it illegal in the UK, which kind of in line with like we said before, like Belgium and a lot of European countries, because they see it as gambling. So especially when it comes to kids, just
you know what I think.
Go.
Tell me if you disagree, but I think put contains loot boxes on the back of the box and make any game that contains loot boxes an 18.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, let's be honest, if parents won't look at 18 if they see a FIFA game. They'll think, it's FIFA, of course I can buy this for my 7-year-old. They won't look at, I mean, they don't look at it when they buy their 13-year-old kids GTA 5.
But I think they need to regulate it somehow, and I think...
Yeah. Well, all that would do as well is just put off anyone who's making kids games.
Yeah.
Just not do it, basically.
I guarantee you, if they make loot boxes games 18s, I guarantee you FIFA will find a way around using loot boxes. And hopefully, whatever vindictive way they find of taking money from kids, it at least isn't encouraging gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point, because that actually, that ultimately is at least a big crux of the issue. I mean, that's got to be something that you can't be encouraging.
And the thing is, as well, is I always feel sorry for parents when you see these articles on like news media where they're like, child spends thousands of pounds of parents' money. Like, yeah, okay, but I don't think people realize how easy it is to just put a credit card down on an account and forget about it. I know we can. I know it's down to the parents to then do a 2-step verification, or whatever like that. I'm not saying that, but it's a lot easier to spend money on games that we think. Like I said before, I mean, I'm an idiot, but I bought FIFA 2020 by accident by playing on my computer with my PlayStation 4 controller, which is mad. I got a refund, but at the same time, it's like, think how easy it is to spend money.
Did you ever hear that thing about, I think it was a slightly different topic, but same idea. I think it was a Logan Paul event. Did you ever hear about this, where you could buy tickets? You guys know who
Yeah.
All right, so there was a concert, I think, that he did. Oh, maybe it was Jake Paul. It was one of those guys. And you could, the tickets were billed as like $7 or whatever. And so you could get your parents to pay the $7. But the $7 didn't actually get you the ticket. Then the next stage was like an extra $70 or something crazy like that. But because your parents have already put in their credit card information for the $7, you as the kid who don't need the credit card information. Now I will have to check the source on that because I feel like I'm not being totally clear on. Yeah, I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna come back to us on this because I don't want to talk smack on people who don't deserve it. But I'm pretty sure that was right. And
I mean, they're not us. They totally deserve it.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of wonder about this. But when you guys were kids, if you'd had access to, we didn't even have DLC when we were.
No, we didn't have
really
DLC.
little.
We had fully formed games.
Yeah. Would you have ever been? Would you have been the type of kid who'd have been like, I'm gonna take my dad's credit card, or would you have been like, I won't do that because I'm afraid?
I don't think I played any games that required. Like I would play FIFA games, but I'm not interested.
No. I'm saying if you were a kid now, like if there was DLC and in-game purchase and stuff available to you when you were, let's say 7.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd have done it?
You know what? Once I took £5 out of my mum's purse, and I told her within an hour. I don't think I would be.
I definitely wouldn't be. I
don't think I would have done. I think I'd have been like either afraid or just like ashamed or
a part of it I think is some kids are young enough where they don't have understand the consequences of money. They just know that these numbers get me this thing.
Yeah.
And games manipulate children to make them feel like they can do it.
Because they make us feel good. And that's literally what it's doing. It's like, I want more.
EA make children feel good.
Oh, no.
Might have to edit that one out.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to...
No, don't make another GIF.
Let's move on to Pokemon Sword and Shield's second piece of DLC, the Crown Tundra, which was announced yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean Tuesday. It's set to launch on October 22nd or October 23rd in Europe for some reason. For those who've picked up the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, this new content includes new adventures to explore, a chance to catch legendary Pokemon from past games, and a new Galarian Star Tournament. I don't know what any of that means.
You know what legendary Pokemon means.
I mean, I know what that means. I was just making a jokey
you bastard.
So it's set to launch on the 6th of November, and also... actually, sorry, there's set to launch, I should say, on the 6th of November. There's a Pokemon Sword and expansion pass and Pokemon Shield and expansion pass physical bundles. And these will be all-in-one bundles, which include the base game and the corresponding DLC on a single cart. I was having this conversation with my brother the other day. I think Pokemon Sword and Shield might be the last big game from Nintendo that I haven't actually played or have any interest in playing. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but like I saw enough reviews and I saw enough about it, and I just really was not interested at all. But Dad, you played it loads, didn't you?
I played it up to the end credits, and then I stopped.
Well, is the DLC like pushing you to go back in?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm going to be streaming, not the Crown Tundra, the one before it. The Isles of Armor.
Yeah.
I love Armor. Do
No,
you
love
love Armor? I'm going to be playing that the week before the Crown Tundra comes
nice.
out.
Great.
Hopefully. But yeah, the DLC does make me want to go back in. Nothing about the base game does. I haven't even caught the legendary.
Like, honestly, because that's the thing.
There's a legendary?
I think
the
as
dog with a sword in his mouth and the dog with the shield.
I think the one thing, like, because... I mean, maybe it's just my expectations, but like I think when the idea of like an open world Pokemon game, like something, Breath of the Wild or something like that came, like they showed they can do that in those games. With the DLC, they kind of did that, and also the what's it called, what's that area? The wild area, is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they showed they can do that, and that entices me. But I don't know. It just feels like I need something to really entice me to play those games, and I just have no interest in them. I don't know why. It just all gone, sadly. Although I am interested in Pokemon Snap. Let me take in my pictures of those little Pokemon. Right, let's come to the last two bits of news. One very quickly, and then we'll finish with a bit of Smash news as well. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity had a showing on last Saturday. and I was really impressed. It looks beautiful. It looks exactly like Breath of the Wild, but big battle-y. That's pretty much it. We got to see Impa. You got to play as young Impa, so 100 years younger Impa. You get, I think there's some things you get with it. You get a bonus weapon, which is a wooden training sword for Link if you have Breath of the Wild saved on your Switch. And I imagine, well, I think sales are at 20 million, so maybe 1/3 of all Switch users probably
Who bought
have
a
that.
Switch but then didn't buy Breath of the Wild? Who was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go
Don't
play.
need that. I mean,
What else were you buying it for?
maybe the family own one copy of Breath of the Wild.
that's a good point.
So they all have like
Yeah.
8 Switches because they've got the home Switch and the Switch Lite
That's a
each.
good point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then they've got one copy of Breath of the Wild between them.
And then
point.
as well, you also get a lucky ladle if you pre-order the item, and a pot lid as well, I should say. And that comes out if you pre-order it before it comes out, which is the 20th of November. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I know Dav's got something to say about Hyrule Warriors later, which could be good or bad. I have no idea. But we'll come on to the last point, and this is really quickly. The next Smash Ultimate DLC fighter will be revealed on Thursday, so it would be revealed by the time you listen to this podcast. The presentation's apparently going to be 3 minutes, and it's going to have a message from Masahiro Sakurai. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it is.
Who do you guys think it's going to be?
Well, hold on to that thought, because I think that's a question we'll have for you guys at the end of this podcast.
You guys.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see someone really cool. Maybe it's just going to be like the next Fire Emblem character. I mean, I really love Fire Emblem, so I have no problem with that. But I think people will be raging across the world if that happens. All right, cool. Let's talk about games. Should we talk about games? Games we've been playing. Can I just briefly start off I want to finish off a point I was making last week about Super Mario Sunshine, because I've only really been playing that since we last did the podcast, because I wanted to give it more love, and I think what annoys me even more is that there are so many things that I love about it that offset them by the things that really piss me off. Like, for instance, it's just like glitching through things. It's weird because when I having played those 3 games, like Galaxy really doesn't need any more work done to it. That game plays, looks, and sounds like almost flawless. If 64 needed anything, it just needed to tweak the camera, and obviously, like, if they could have remade the graphics or like made it look prettier, then great. But the game itself is kind of almost perfect. Whereas with like Sunshine, there are so many things in that game which annoy me so much.
Why didn't they fix it? What was
They
the
didn't
point
fix
in
it.
doing?
I don't know,
What was the
man.
point in doing? I mean, how much is that All Stars? It's 50 quid or something.
Yeah, it's full price game.
Okay, first of all, it took 15 people to make Mario 64.
It did take 15 people.
They could fix all of the problems with. I mean, at least for 64 with 15 people apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, it's baffling to me. I mean, Sunshine definitely is the buggiest, and it definitely comes back to the old Nintendo adage of a delayed game.
Yeah, delayed game. Yeah,
You know?
and it's weird, man. They could say, I just want to say finally, I don't hate the game at all. Like, I actually really love the game.
Yeah.
But it's so weird because there's just so many glitches and moments from just like, and I think the one thing that's really annoying is like the life system. It's like you can get through life so easily, then you restart, then you go back to Delfino Plaza, then you go back, and then if you lose 3 lives, you go back to Delfino, and it's just like a lot of loading in and out all the time.
Yeah.
It could have simplified that, but
Cut down your loading times. Like, it's just so simple. Like, these are really easy things that you can definitely do. I mean, 64 has no excuse. 64 because that game can run on a toaster. You know what I mean?
the Zach Hamilton classic.
But Sunshine, again, it's not that far off. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it should be able to run really nicely with no loading time. And
yeah.
with all the crap of like Pachinko fixed.
Oh,
like,
don't.
what?
Oh, Pachinko.
Yeah,
I mean, I
what a
said that
shame.
last week. I finished Pachinko, but it took
You
me a
actually
while.
did it? I've never done it.
I did it, but I was enraged. It's just because,
Yeah.
honestly, because there's so little space in between, like, where you can jump and where you hit. And you die so easily, and then you restart the level, and it's like, oh my god. And then you have to get on the boat, and then jump, and if you miss, you've got to look for the next boat. And it's like, oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I still really love the game, and it still has so much charm, and it looks really good as well. It's just the glitches when they happen, like when the bad things happen, they make me the most angry I've been in any Mario game, which is really funny because it's such a chill game. And it's hard. It's like he's on a little island, you know. It's like lovely music.
It's my favorite of the three, like because it has the
I can see
the level design against the the level design as in like the platforming against the theming is so nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a shame that it's not finished.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I still love the collection. I know I paid £50 for it, and that's crazy. But I hadn't played Galaxy before. I haven't played Sunshine in like 15 years, and I haven't played 64 in like 10 years. So the fact that I have my Switch, I still love that. I just wish Nintendo had done more. Anyway, that's enough. I don't want to say any more about that game. Who wants to go first? Anyone got anything cool? Dav, I know you got 2 games. Do you want to go?
Yeah. I'm going to start off negatively.
Okay.
Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition on Nintendo Switch.
I had a feeling it was going to be that.
That is a poorly designed game.
Yeah.
Is it really that bad?
I've played Musou games in the past. I know what I was in for. So I thought, you know what? I'll bump up the difficulty. Because otherwise it'll just be a snooze fest and I know I won't enjoy it and then I'll just bin it in half an hour. It's bad enough that as soon as I finished my stream of it last night, I sold it on eBay.
Wow.
And half an hour before this podcast recording, I posted it.
Wow.
So yeah. It just...
Are you worried about
what's wrong with it
then?
I'm not too worried about Age of Calamity. I'm not sure I'm going to get it. But from what I've seen and from what I've heard, it seems like it's made some changes that I'd like to see.
Yeah.
But my issues were, it just felt designed poorly. It felt like I was losing over and over again for reasons out of my control. Because you've got these massive maps, right? And you've got your home base, and then you've got your objectives you need to do. And you've got your side objectives, and you've got several heroes that you're controlling, and you can command where they go on the map and stuff. And it basically, I spent an hour and a half on the same mission, and I gave up and ended the stream because I was done. Man. Yeah, it was just frustrating, and it doesn't really feel that fun to play.
Yeah. It's very repetitive.
It's very repetitive, and then when it's on hard, every now and then there is a really rewarding little challenge in there, but it kind of feels like I've made that moment. The game didn't give me that moment, like with Breath of the Wild, for instance. When you climb the highest mountain and there's a Korok seed to get at the top, you feel like an absolute genius. But then 200 Korok seeds later, you realise that, actually, they knew full well I was going to do every single one of these things that I felt like I was like, there's a boulder here. Oh, there's a thing in the distance. I reckon I can roll. And I remember this moment in Breath of the Wild, and I was like, I'm going to see if I can roll this thing down between those things. And I didn't even think about Korok seeds. I was just like, go on then. Let's try it. Did it, got a Korok seed. I was like, you sneaky developers. You know how to make fun. And Koei Tecmo, who made Hyrule Warriors, missed the mark on how to make fun on the Legend mode, which is the main one.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't try the rest. I was not in the mood for it.
Is it easy? Is it like a super easy game?
On normal difficulty,
it's so
absolutely.
Easy,
what about on the highest difficulty?
It's hard, but it's not like... It doesn't feel like it's hard it's not responsibly hard. It's like you'll be halfway through the boss battle and they go, your home base got destroyed.
Right.
And like...
This was my concern when I saw the new one, the Age of Calamity one. All I thought was, it looks stunning. It looks like a lot of fun. Looks like I might be able to breeze through it in an afternoon. I'm not, I'm not great at games. I mean, like I famously gave up on Dark Souls, but I do like to have a little bit of. I want to feel good about having beaten a level, not feel like I'm being led through like a baby.
So you will absolutely breeze through it, but it will take you more than one afternoon. Right. It's like 20 to 30 hours of breezing, which I find quite boring.
I want that. Yeah, that sounds boring.
It was weird because like I think I probably enjoy. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it more than you because I still have it. But like I did enjoy it, but after I put over 25 hours into it, I played the main story, and a lot of that was playing it with Rosie. So like that was a lot more fun because co-op's always fun. Games are always better with co-op because you're playing with your pal and it makes dull games more fun. But I can definitely see where you're coming from, and like I think I was kind of bewitched by like how much. I mean, you could tell how much they loved Zelda with that game, and like all the lore they added in, and all the music was great. But when it came down to it, it was still very repetitive. And yeah, I definitely I can see why you didn't like it. I totally see why. I am still really excited for Age of Calamity. But I think that's more because it's just story-wise.
It didn't change my opinion on Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
That game looks cool.
That's good.
I'm looking forward to seeing you stream it, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
That would be fun.
I might just end up crying, though. Like, when I... Yeah, just end up crying.
Of course. But, yeah, so that's all I need to say about Hyrule Warriors. That's out of my life now, thank God.
Never mentioned again.
Do you think Rosie would stream it with you, Jonny?
Probably not. I did ask her about Goose.
About Goose Game.
We played it for about 10 minutes and we were just pissing ourselves. Just waddling around like that's it. That's all we were doing. It was brilliant. It was so good.
I would love to see. I think that would be a really fun. I think I would definitely tune in to see you and Rosie play just about anything because I think that would be great crack.
I do love how like it would be the extremes of playing Goose Game to playing The Last of Us 2 and shooting zombies' heads off.
Yeah,
that would be quite fun.
That would be fun.
But Dav, what was your positive game?
Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath.
Is it good?
Oh yeah, it's fun. Oh, that's fun. I did the whole expansion in one stream, 3-hour stream.
Nice.
It felt like I was playing Avengers Endgame, but with like insane Mortal Kombat characters.
Cool.
It was just so good. Like all the cutscenes were like, it was a beefy expansion, and like they added some good characters. Although I thought RoboCop was going to be in the expansion story, but he wasn't. But he is a character. He is an expansion character.
He's a character.
But no, it was really good, man. It was like really, really good.
That's great.
Because I really liked Mortal Kombat 11's story. The campaigns of those games from Mortal Kombat Reboot, which is Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat X, and Mortal Kombat 11. It's all one continuous story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's just really, really good. Yeah. It feels like Marvel Avengers. Like,
that's really cool.
Great. It's great. You've got like loads of different factions all splintering off, like massive events changing the history of Mortal Kombat forever. They really delve into a lot of the lore, and there's lots of little sort of like interactions between different characters. And you're like, because of that thing that happened in like Mortal Kombat 3. Like, they've made it so everything that's ever happened in Mortal Kombat has happened.
That's cool.
And there is a bit of a timey-wimey thing to it that kind of gives them an excuse to like mess around, and also like the idea of like, oh, the Titan of Time is going to change everything, and you've got to stop them, and then you've got to reverse time and all that sort of stuff. But which is like an easy mechanic to be like, oh, we went too far. We need to like reset and like go back. Even like all the different. Oh, but the great thing about Aftermath is it feels like it's an Avengers of the bad guys as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, all the different major bad guys of all the, like, Mortal Kombat games start teaming up. So you've got, like, Shang Tsung, plus Sindel, plus Shao Kahn, plus Chronica, who's the new one, all, like, on the same team at different times, and, like, everyone's backstabbing each other, and, like, you've got some of the bad guys are on the good team, and the bad guys and the good guys have to team up. It was just, like, such silly, great fun. Looked beautiful. Some really beautiful choreographed fights in the cutscenes. I'm just playing on the Xbox Series. I wish the Xbox One S.
I was going to say, I wonder how it plays on the Switch. I do wonder because like it had decent reviews on the Switch, but obviously there'll be a lot of.
Tell you what, there'll be load. I bet you there are load times on the Switch, but there aren't any. There aren't any noticeable ones in the Xbox version. But no, it's just a really fun game.
Yeah, that's what I love with the Mortal Kombat games. They've always just been like, go on, have fun. Like, it's just...
Honestly, check out the archive, because you'd have to see my face. You can't even hear my voice because my mic was having issues. I just streamed the whole Aftermath game, and honestly, check it out, because it's just literally an archive of the whole expansion.
Awesome.
And it's just really silly, but it's one of those things. It's like it's serious, but it doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
But it does it really well. Like it really like walks the line of that tone, because that can really miss the spot. But really good stuff. Awesome. I'm really looking forward to Mortal Kombat 12, whenever that'll be. In a couple of years, maybe. I really want that now. I'm hungry for more.
I am really tempted. I can't remember the last time I played a Mortal Kombat game, but I used to love them as a kid. You know, I used to love those games.
Time to end the podcast.
We'll cut that out. In post.
No, we'll keep it in. So Zach, what have you been playing any games?
Guys, I'm so sorry to do this again, but I've been doing the exact same thing I've been doing the last few weeks. I was supposed to start the stream on Sunday.
Your laptop. Your laptop troubles.
Yeah, well, so I got a capture card, but it won't work on my Mac for some reason. So I've had to go and dig out an old laptop, which I've had to have repaired, and I'm still waiting to have that back. So fingers crossed we can start this week. But to be honest, man, I'm getting really nervous because like every time I practice a level, I'm honestly, I've been practicing levels that take me like hours to work out like a decent strategy. I'm trying not to make it too much like a speed run, because if you want to watch a speed run, there are speedrunners who can do it way better than I can.
It's not about that, though, is it? It's not about the speed run.
No, I'm just trying to, but I don't want it to feel like choreographed. I don't want it to be like the whole game's like, okay, now I have to do this, now I have to do that. I just want to be good enough at the game where it can feel like an organic
play. It's a balance, balance.
But some of the stuff does have to be a little bit prepped, because like otherwise I will just die. And some of the levels are just freaking me out, man. I'm getting nervous. But I'm really excited. Hopefully Sunday I'll be able to start The Last of Us 2 permadeath, no reticle run. Which I'm amazed to see. I'm amazed to see still there's no one I can see online who's doing a no reticle run, which I find amazing, because like it's not better. I don't think it's a better experience, but it's a completely different experience. So
that's good, man.
Anyway.
You throw yourself right into that.
Pioneer
naughty dog
genre.
Me and Rosie will tune in as a newly married couple. The first thing we do is just watch.
That's the honeymoon.
Really good.
That's the honeymoon.
That'll make me feel really good.
Yeah.
The next of us.
No, it's a little baby.
All right, so we haven't got a quiz today. I apologize to anyone.
Can I mention about the quiz?
Yes.
So when you told us there was no quiz, I was like, I wonder if I can find a quiz online. It's not that funny. I wonder if there's a quiz online. The first thing that came up was a Princess Peach quiz. And
please rifle through these questions immediately.
No, the questions are mostly stupid. It's like, what color is Princess Peach's dress? This one is just made me laugh, because it's where is Princess Peach from? Now, one of the answers is the Mushroom Kingdom, obviously. But the alternatives are the Toadstool Republic. I love that. I want it to be the Toadstool Republic.
Yeah, me too.
The Land of Lichen. Okay. And my personal favorite, Mold City. Mold City. Anyway, that's from, and this is the weirdest part, is this comes from thebeano.com.
Oh, I saw those.
I have to presume is the actual Beano, as in like Dennis the Menace.
The comic book, Dennis
What the hell?
Man, I used to get those all the time. I had every single year I'd get those as a Christmas present. I used to love
Did you really?
Yeah, man, I used to love the Beano up until I was like 10.
Funny.
I used to love it. So instead of the quiz, I was just going to ask the guys a question. First one is, and we kind of spoke about it earlier, but I just kind of get your guys' opinions on it. It doesn't have to be too long, but do you think Microsoft has done enough to convince PlayStation users to get an Xbox Series X or S alongside the PS5, or better yet, instead of a PS5? And then beyond that, if so, is there anything Sony can do in response? That's the question, really. And then we'll finish with Smash. What you guys think is going to be? Do you think Microsoft has done enough to win over PlayStation users?
I think it depends on your budget.
Fair enough.
I think if you can afford a PS5 and the idea of paying 70 quid for games doesn't daunt you, then people are going to stay with Sony. Sony have like quite a rampant fan base.
Yeah.
Who love to hate on Xbox.
They do. Like a lot of people did not take well to Microsoft buying Bethesda last week. There was a lot of people who were very upset about that. But what can you do? That's a really good point, though. It's a really good point.
It seems like they've done everything they possibly could. I mean, the new Game Pass thing, combined with
EA
and also the Bethesda buyout. They've done everything they could possibly do. I can't think of what else they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The only response I think PlayStation has is just to update their Now system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what they can do?
What I think is funny is that Sony have managed to get their fans to hate Game Pass.
Which is mad.
Which I don't like. They've managed to get people to shit on a service that would give them games for the nominal fee. like the and there, I guess because there are probably less Xboxes in the world, they're probably the same people on Xbox, but there's just less of them, so you don't hear them as much. But I will never understand. Well, maybe I will understand, but I'll never be someone who is a slave to a label or to a brand. You know, at the end of
apart
the day,
from Nintendo. Not for me personally. That's why I love Nintendo.
I don't have a Wii U.
Neither do I, actually.
I don't have Wii U. Zach?
Well, I don't even have a Switch.
Hey, now. I'm sure a Sony and Xbox fanboy came and stole it from you. Like, no, get a real console.
Probably.
No, but Dav,
I'm with you. I think you're right.
Well.
I think that's kind of all that's going to be a big factor even now. It's still going to be a lot of commitment to the brand.
Just as a follow up to that, then, do you think is there anything Sony can do realistically to like compete with buying Bethesda? I personally think no, because I don't think there's anything they could realistically buy that is that big.
I think I saw a thing about Sony between 2013 and 2020 have made like 8.2 billion. PlayStation have made 8.2 billion, and Microsoft bought Bethesda for 7.5 billion. 7.5, yeah. It's like, I mean, tell you what, if Microsoft buy another huge company like Bethesda, if they buy Ubisoft, I'm actually going to be like worried about what Xbox are doing.
Well. Yeah,
like they need to slow it down a bit.
Because at the same time, we don't want if Monopoly is not good, as the game tells us. The game tells us it's not good.
As a judge has told us about Fortnite and Apple, that actually Apple don't have a monopoly, but we agree monopoly is bad, but there's no monopoly here. There's no monopoly here with Microsoft, but you give them Ubisoft, then there's trouble.
Yep.
You give them someone like Square Enix, and we're getting nervous.
Yep. Oh, Square Enix would be a tough one for Sony. Like, they're associated with, ever since like Final Fantasy VII, they've been associated with them for like 23 years now.
What about Crystal Chronicles?
We don't talk about that on this channel, I don't think, anymore. Oh my god. But honestly, anyone who's like, I don't think that stream is still up on our channel. But anyone who watched that would just be like, oh, he was dreadful. It was like, it must have been really funny watching it, but we were so annoyed just how bad it was.
I hope it was funny, otherwise what the hell was it for?
So let's go on to the final question. Just finally, as we know, Smash is, there's going to be a new character release tomorrow, which again it's going to be Thursday. First of all, who do you think it's going to be? Who do you guys think it's going to be?
Well, I haven't kept up with it in a while for obvious reasons. Who have we had lately? The last one I heard about was Banjo-Kazooie, I think.
Was it
since Banjo, we had Byleth, which is the main character from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Okay.
Terry.
And they announced Min Min from ARMS, but she hasn't come out yet.
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah. Has she not come out?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I haven't played Smash in ages. Like, again, I only play Smash with you guys, and we just haven't played it in a while. All right, then. So
speaking of who do you Hyrule think? Warriors, if it were me, I would want to see Skull Kid.
Oh, that's a good show.
That would be really fun. I don't think they'll do that, and if there'd be no point. But I would really enjoy that.
I raise you another Zelda character. I'd say Impa. I'd like to see.
Yeah, well, it could be input. You know, they could do it as a sort of a promo for
Hyrule Warriors. Yeah,
who did you say, Zach? Sorry,
I wanted Skull Kid from Majora's Mask.
See, I think Rivali from Breath of the Wild.
That would be cool.
That'd be
good.
I would think a flying character, people like that. Yeah, bow and arrow. He's got the range.
Yeah, that would be good.
Do we think that? These what we think, or are these the ones you're kind of hoping for?
Oh, that's what I think.
I have no idea.
You still think Rivali? Okay, I'd like Impa.
It could easily be a Breath of the Wild character, couldn't it?
Travis
Touchdown.
Travis Touchdown is one that
would be good.
Is it definitely only going to be one?
Yeah, tomorrow. Well, they said so. It's only a 3-minute video.
There's 4 left, I think.
Yeah, there is 4 left. So it's only a 3-minute video. So I assume just based on the fact that there's only 3 minutes showing it, they can't show.
There's only 4. There's only going to be 4 more fighters.
Yeah.
Well, unless it's going to be the 4 champions.
Oh, well, it definitely won't be.
Ooh,
then they can't just have one, can they? They're not going to do that.
They can. They have one character from ARMS.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's not even one of the main two.
Like a representative of that
Arms
game.
Arms versus Breath of the Wild. I mean, that is...
They've got Link from Breath of the Wild.
Especially as well, because I think Rivali's like the least liked member of that group. I think everyone loves...
well, he's the big dick character.
Everyone loves Urbosa's Fury.
No, everyone likes... Doesn't everyone like the fucking... Zora, what's his name?
Oh.
No, Zora, the one who everyone was like simping over online. Do you know
what? No, I do not remember that.
No. Do you not remember? You know, there's the muscular Zora. No,
Mipha.
the guy who's alive, not Mipha. So it's her brother or something.
Her brother, her brother. I did not know that.
No, oh my god! Like, I mean, I haven't looked at it, but I have to assume the 39 on that is pretty bleak. No, honestly, the kind of...
Didn't you draw a lot of that?
That's the end of episode 24.
Next week, I'm just expecting Zach to have a picture in the background of whatever his name is.
Yeah, just like little love hearts around whatever his name is.
All right, so
the character I want...
Yeah, who do you want?
Chibi Robo.
Oh, that'd be cool.
He'd be like Kirby height. I'll show you. So I'm going to show you the cover of a game which doesn't represent Chibi Robo, but it's Chibi Robo Zipless.
Yeah,
he is a little robot with a plug.
He's cute.
And his job is to clean up houses. And his game on the GameCube is about him cleaning up a house while like this family's going through these domestic issues.
Oh wow. That is...
So he's trying to help. He's like trying to help the family like mend bridges by tidying up the house so that they have a nice place to live. It's like that's a video
really
game.
Cute
that's really adorable. Yeah, that's really adorable.
That.
Yeah, that's a good shout actually. That's a really good. And they've only got like one robot of name, which is Rob.
Yeah,
Robert.
He's got that sort of that he could lasso it. He could whip people. He could swing from the edge of the ledge.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That is.
You know, he could like hit it onto the ground to double jump.
That's a good shout. All right. Well, let's see what it is. We'll find out very soon.
We'll find out before this podcast airs.
Exactly. All right, we'll leave it there, lads. Thank you so much for joining today. That is the end of podcast number 24. Number 25 next week, which is mad.
Wow.
Absolutely mad. Thank you very much for listening today. If you have enjoyed the show, then please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon. Tell your friends. Give us a review. Give us a comment. We've had some comments on our YouTube page recently about the episode, so please keep sending us messages. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening to us as well. We are growing and you're all helping us, so thank you so much. Hopefully we'll be doing some streaming soon, like Zach said. Hopefully tomorrow, if you're listening to it on Saturday, he'll hopefully be ready to do his Lu 2. His Last of Us 2 stream, and then Dav will hopefully be doing some streaming as well. And I'm hoping to jump back into PES at some point next week. I just couldn't this week because, like I said, I'm getting married, which is crazy. In fact, by the time this gets released, by the time someone would have listened to this, I'll be getting married not long after. So I expect gifts, listeners.
Wait, are you going to be uploading this on
or at
your
least
wedding
gifts.
day?
Yes. Oh no! I'll be doing it Friday night.
Friday night,
yeah.
Ready to go on Saturday.
Yeah, it's like that's the important thing. Making sure I get that sorted for Saturday. All right, we'll leave it there.
If you get married without uploading this video, I'm going to be so annoyed.
Should I change the theme song? Just like add some like bells and stuff.
Put some bells in it.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. All right then. Thank you very much, gents. We are Video Games Ahoy, and we'll see you next week. Ahoy!
Bye.